What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. This is the Deep Corner presented by the Volleyball League of America, episode 47. I'm Rob St. Clair and a very special guest today. You can see the sweatshirt from Maryland. You got the Maryland
That's
flag
right.
on there. Mr. Brandon Greenway, one of the hosts of the 4 to 4 podcast, one of those trio of boys, played VLA Cup for the New York Pride this past year, and just a big dude in the volleyball world who I'm excited to talk to. Brandon, welcome to the show.
I appreciate it, man. I really appreciate you guys having me on. I'm excited to sit here and talk it up a little bit about the VLA and some other stuff you got waiting for me.
Love it. Yeah, we got some good stuff waiting for you. You do a lot of the interviewing these days, so I like giving people like that a chance to come on and be interviewed. I think you guys deserve it.
Yeah, man, this is new. I was getting ready to just rifle off our little introduction. I was like, wait, I don't have to run this one. This is kind of nice.
Nope, you get to listen to me do it, and you get to listen to a couple things that I have to tell the people before we really get going. One is around the VLA, our new YouTube live show on the VLA's YouTube channel has been going off. We've got 4 episodes done already. It's been awesome. We're doing every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So today's Tuesday, so coming on Wednesday. This week we had who do we have? Jeff Vautrin for the Boston Bounce this week. We had Ryan Bridge from Sport Connects last week. We had Joe Kawiakamoa on the show. We had Lloyd Ball on the show. So it's been really fun to do around the VLA. So catch that live on the YouTube channel every Monday. Get in the chat and ask us questions and all that good stuff. And then just stay tuned to the VLA because we got a big month of June coming up. We have already announced the Lincoln, Nebraska event in 2 weekends with Ascension and Icemen going to travel to play some of the Nebraska guys down there, and then even more coming on later this month, which will be announced very, very soon. So a lot of cool VLA stuff going on. And Brandon and his boys of the New York Pride got a chance to be a part of it at VLA Cup, and I haven't done a proper deep corner since that because, well, I tried to record one and then my computer just deleted the audio, so that was a shame. But Brandon, we'll get to your takes on the VLA Cup because it was such a sick event. I haven't really addressed the people about it since it's happened. But I wanted to start by talking about your playing career and how you got to that point because your story is cool. First of all, you're the first guy from Maryland that I've had on the show. It's a
I love it.
love it. It's a volleyball region that I don't know that much about, except obviously the Russell family and the Berzins family. I understand are a big deal, but tell me about the Maryland scene and how that affected your college recruitment process.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm very proud to be the only guy from Maryland out of here. Like you said, you shout out the Russells and all them and the Berzins, all great dudes, really good players. So proud to be out of the Maryland crew with them. But yeah, Maryland really, they're having a lot of growth now, especially in the boys game. There's a lot of clubs that have come up since and started making it. But when I was starting, when I was in high school, there was like nothing. There was literally one club that you could play for, and it was MVP, and that's where the Russells played, and that was like it. But I started initially because my sister's 8 years older than me and she played volleyball in high school. And I always love telling this story because it's kind of funny. But my dad was my football coach and I was in like 4th grade and he had the opportunity to coach her in high school volleyball. So he's like, I'm not going to coach football. I'll go coach volleyball. And I was angry and I said I wasn't going to play football if he doesn't coach. So I quit football. And then little did I know, I signed myself up to go to the volleyball gym 5 days a week for 2 hours. So that's kind of what got me. Yeah, exactly, man. I thought, it was a blessing in disguise, though. It ended up treating me right. So I was in there every day and I was just like, man, I might as well pick it up while I'm in here. And then since then, I was all downhill of just a fast train of volleyball and learning. And yeah, when I get into high school, there was like no clubs or anything like that. And then out of nowhere, Annapolis Volleyball, my dad hears about that they're trying to start up this club. And shout out to the Schwabes, Mike Schwab, who is the current director of Annapolis Volleyball Club. Without him, my college career would probably not even be in existence. My professional career most likely wouldn't either, because he took me to a whole nother level of player and took us to a real professional level of being a club in terms of high school. So yeah, I went to this random tryout. There was like probably 8 of us, and I think half of them were Mike Schwab's sons, from Will Schwab all the way down to baby Mike, who was like 8 years old at the time, was even there. And so it was pretty hard for them to cut us. So we all pretty much made the team, and we ended up having just an absolute stacked team. I mean, by the time I graduated, I was setting, Will Schwob, who played at Grand Canyon, was hitting outside. Jalen Jasper, who played at Stanford, is hitting right side. And we had Robert Schwob, his brother, who was getting looks at from really big D1s, ended up signing to play D1 football. But we ended up just coming out of nowhere and being like the only real competitive club out of Maryland for those few years I was in high school. But now, like I said, there's a bunch of growth. There's Maryland Juniors, there's MVA, there's MVP, Annapolis. There's a lot of really good clubs coming up with some teams now out here on the East Coast.
Good to hear. We're seeing that same thing in a lot of different little pockets nationwide. I think it's awesome. And maybe we'll get a VLA tier 2 team out of Maryland before long. That would be tight. So you mentioned that you were a setter because that's what you were going into college at the University of Charleston, but it certainly isn't what you are now. So tell me about that. What circumstances around the position change? And I guess, I mean, there aren't that many guys that make that particular switch. Either you're a setter or you're not. It's not common that you go from distributing to just scoring all the points. So when in your college career at Charleston did that happen?
That happened halfway through my sophomore year. So I'd come in and this is like the whole start to kind of my wild story, I guess you could say. So yeah, we came in my freshman year. There was a coach there. We played. I was setting. Me and Anthony Rivera were pretty much splitting time at that point. And then we got a new coach coming in my sophomore year, who was a really good coach, Ken Merzak. He had coached at high level, all these high level Division I women's, came over to us, and he was a real game changer for us. He brought in a lot of really good knowledge. But I remember I was like so keened in on focused on like trying to win that starting spot. And I was busted. I was working so hard in off season to keep up with Ant. Cause I mean, you saw him at the VLA Cup. He's just an athlete, man. And I was always a lot more technical kind of setter. I was, my dad was really good friends with Chris McGowan. So I was always in that gold medal square, getting like technique down to the form. So me and Ant were just duking it out, and we were actually very close. And when I came back from Christmas break, I don't know what it was, but something just clicked. My tempo and my hands were there. And I was like, man, I think I'm going to beat him out. Like, I think this is it. And then at the end of that week, Ken calls me into his office. He was like, hey, so this guy went down, this guy got hurt. We're really short on pins. I want you to start hitting. I was like, oh man. And we're like
After
2 weeks.
All this work that I just did. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're 2 weeks from like the start of season. We had just gotten back from Christmas break. We had 2 weeks to train before season starts. I was like, I thought you were calling me in to tell me I was the starting setter, but I got a rude awakening. He was like, yes, I want you to move over to the pin. And I was always very much a team player. I was very like, my dad always kind of raised me. He was a military guy from the Marine Corps. He was like, you do whatever it is to help the team win. You don't complain. You just kind of work. And that was like always my mentality, is I was just work. So when I got switched over to hitting, it was all bets were off. I was like, all right, well, put the hands away, and now I'm swinging. I got to figure this thing out.
Wow. Yeah. That's especially at that time, right before your season, your sophomore year. And you're right about Ant, like Anthony Rivera. We saw him setting for you for Pride at VLA Cup, and he's sick. He's so silky. Yeah. And especially if you had some injuries at the pins, like take two of your best athletes, you can't afford to have one of them on the bench. So I understand the reasoning for it, but that is not an easy switch. So did you play both pins right away, or which pin were you on, and what were you focusing on? Like, what was the most difficult thing for you to learn technically about making the change?
Yeah, definitely. So when I first made the switch originally, it was just like go to outside, because I think we were down to 3 outsides in our whole college gym. We didn't even have enough outsides to do 6-on-6 scrimmaging. Wow. He's like, yeah. And our third one was not even close to where he wasn't physical enough to hang at the Division I level. It wasn't for him. I think that the intention with him was going to be to switch him to libero once he got here, but we had so many injuries, we had to keep him there. So I was kind of the next piece of the puzzle. So I guess I instantly got in the gym, and easily the hardest thing for me to pick up on. And I actually used to call Peter Russell like 5 times a week, asking for him to like help me out with certain like little critiques. But yeah, the hardest thing for me to get down was passing, like serve receive. I was pretty good at defense as a setter. I was very easy to move. My blocking, like I said, when I was growing up, I was kind of playing everything the way my dad raised me, was just like learn every position. But once I started getting focused in high school, and when you start to get more into your body and more athletic, I was so zoned in on setting. I mean, I was taking no serve receive reps. Like, and then I get out there and I'm facing 70 to 75-mile-an-hour jump serves and float serves that dance all over the court. I was like, dude, last time I was in serve receive, kid was like 14 and and he was giving me a balloon and I would still pass a 2.
That dude, serve receive so hard, and it's obviously so important at the highest levels. But so that just kind of comes down to reps and reps and reps, I'm sure, as you're starting to see things and build chemistry in the seams with your fellow like serve receive guys and your teammates. But so how about hitting? I want to ask about the offense, because I talked to Joe Kawiakamoa about this, who you saw at VLA Cup. He was a setter at the highest possible levels, came back stateside after setting in Italy and played mostly outside hitter for the past few years, and now sets for Ruckus. So he's played both, and he was interesting to hear from how his setting experience like informs what he does as an outside hitter, and even vice versa. So what's that like for you? Do you think having been a setter, it helps you like able to see certain things when you're attacking, or was it just trying to go up and be physical and learn how to learn a new position, I guess?
Yeah, it helped me out a ton. And also shout out to Joe, man. He was sick. When we played against him, he was so like, I really wanted to just like not like him, but it's so hard. He was such a good baller and such a good guy. So shout out to him. But yeah, no, without question, I think that I would not be where I am as a hitter if I wasn't a setter leading into it. In terms of like vision of where to hit, that kind of just came right off a rip, because I was 6'4", 6'5", especially back in college. I mean, my height was raising up every year. So I started out like 6'4" when I was hitting, and now I'm only like 6'5", so only an extra inch, but still. And you know, in the Division I level, I mean, most of the outsides that you're facing are 6'7" to 6'9".
Right.
And same with all the blockers that you're going against. So instantly my vision in terms of swinging was, let me find some hands and let me blast off them. And that was another thing that Peter Russell was firing off at me. He's like, dude, just go off hands. He's like, nobody cares to bounce the bounce ball. When you have 20 kills off hands, that's going to be way more important than the one banger. So I lived as a really humble hitter in college, because I pretty much had to. I was going to get humbled really quick if I didn't. But in terms of the connection between setting and hitting, I thought it was huge for me, because it helped me as a hitter be able to understand my setters better. I mean, I would instantly click with them because I knew in situations exactly what they were thinking, exactly where they were going. I could read our setters. I could read Ant's body. If he was turned a certain way, I was like, all right, well, as a setter, man, I know that this ball is probably going to be a little more inside, and it helped my approach. And like, it just made me feel so easy to connect with my setters because of the experience that I had. And I think a lot of setters I played with had respect for me for that, because they knew that I've had that training and things. So I think that it really helped, like it helped me expedite like my hitting very fast and help me catch up to kind of the curve.
Cool. That's really interesting to hear, because yeah, there's the technical transfer of like mechanics. There isn't really that much there, but just the game sense and the feel and the little detailed adjustments that you obviously know are sometimes the difference between winning and losing a match can be huge. And it's cool to hear that helps so much, because you're right. You're coming into your season like 2 weeks before, you're learning a new position, and you need all the help you can get catching up pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely needed that help.
So tell me about the move overseas, because you just finished up a season in Denmark. I'm not going to try to pronounce the team that you played for. Dude, help me out with that.
It was Vico Vesseland.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm normally pretty good at pronouncing stuff. That one I don't think I quite have in the bag. But tell me about. I asked this question to pretty much every guy who comes on the show. I want to hear your experience with the jump overseas, because everybody does it differently. The country has so much to do with it, just the situation of the club that you go to. But first, tell me about the play style and the level of play. What was the biggest noticeable difference in uptick and intensity level in Denmark versus in the EIVA?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, when I first got over there, I didn't even really realize like the difference. Like I could tell when I was on the court, I was like, okay, obviously there's a little bit higher level players, a little more consistency. It's the professional level. You're getting paid for it. You got to deliver kind of thing. So I noticed that. But it wasn't until I actually got home that I was like, wow, that was a huge jump. Once I got home and I started to get into the gym with some like old college friends and some guys that were playing in the Division I level, I was like, it's just not that it's behind, because there are guys in that level like EIVA, like Brett Wildman out of Penn State, that will have, you know, he could jump in one of those leagues right now and be perfectly fine.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Just like I ended up doing. But it's just like when you get in the gym with people that have been training a certain way in college, and then when I came back, I was like, oh my God, like I didn't even realize that I had made so many strides while I was over there. And even Ant pointed it out when we were at the VLA Cup in Indiana. He was like, oh, I couldn't. And I mean, I played an indoor tournament with him before I left too. He's like, dude, I couldn't believe the way you were playing. He's like, I haven't seen you, like, he's like, I can see that you were over in Europe. I was like, well, I appreciate it. So yeah, I didn't really notice it until after, but definitely just the level of play, the speed of the game definitely comes in big. And I think that in the IVA, you know, there's teams that'll keep up with that speed and there's certain teams that won't. And that's just, I mean, that's how you determine who wins the IVA and who doesn't, is who can keep up to that kind of speed. But, and you get over there and there's just some crazy physical guys that, you know, it's like, man, you gotta, and then you're a professional. It's like, you got to find the way to stop them. So it was just, there's a lot more weighing on the situation than in college.
That's well said. Dig into that a little deeper in detail. Like, what is the differences that Antwerp was pointing out about your game before versus after? What exactly did he mean by that? Because I was impressed by your game in a few different areas. One, like you were talking about, being 6'5" is a pretty decent size for a left side, but not against especially the caliber of middles that were at VLA Cup, for example.
Yeah, they were amazing.
It was absolutely ridiculous. So is he talking about the difference in your offensive game, the difference in your serve receive game? Like what were in your opinion, or I guess in Ant's opinion, if I asked him, what would he say you got the most better at after a year in Denmark?
Yeah, I mean, when I talked to him, he instantly just talked about my reach and kind of the height I was reaching at, because my vertical, I had a really big jump when I was in college where I went from a pretty low vertical to a pretty good one. And then I think I've even tried it a little bit better. And I used to have a bad habit of occasionally short arming some balls and some swings. And Ian pointed out, he said the biggest difference was that is I was just reaching over top of everything.
Contact point. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also 100% my serve receive. I mean, he was like blown away by that too, which always feels good coming from your college setter. The fact that he was impressed by your passing. So you can't complain about that.
Well, if you want to see Brandon go back and ball, check out all of Pride's matches on the VL YouTube channel. There are a few up there already. There are several more coming. We will get all of them up there. I promise everybody listening who's been bothering us on Instagram. There's just a lot of video. We'll get there. So a pretty good segue to talk about Cup. So first, tell me about your origin stories with the New York Pride, because Terrence, our boy, who runs the team, the doctor of physical therapy there on Long Island, who kind of put the squad together, did a really good job building some pieces like from his area, but then reaching outside that too. He obviously got you and he got the two Hawaii guys. So I think really the only thing stopping you guys from being a championship level team is the fact that you had pretty much never played together until that tournament. So how did it come together? When did he first get in touch with you? And what was it like walking into the gym, like to warm up that Thursday before Friday morning's matches, like meeting your teammates for the first time in some cases?
Yeah, man, it was really, really unique for sure. But I mean, we clicked on a personal level so well, so fast. Like there's always that worry, especially with everybody coming from different areas. You know, is somebody going to be spiteful? Is somebody going to be upset they're not playing? Nobody knows anybody. And it wasn't like that at all. Like everybody on the Pride's team were like, when we came to the end, they were like, can you believe we've only known each other for 3 days? Like 2 days ago, we met each other. Like that's insane to us. Cause we all like
best thing. I love
we were hanging out. Like we were old friends from college catching up. It was so cool. And it was so nice to connect so fast in terms of a personal level. But yeah, I was over in Denmark. I had actually gotten up to talk to my agent, and then I see like my Instagram, I had like a DM and it was from Terrence. And I think Terrence saw me play at the USA national team tryout a few years back, and he saw me play there, and he just messaged me. He was like, "Hey man, like I saw you play. You're a really good player. I've kept up with your career. Like, I got this team. Will you join it?" And I was like, so I remembered Terrence a little bit, but I was like, I don't really know him. And then he listed off some of the guys that he had and everything. And I followed James for a little bit, Anastasiadis, and I know I have a few connections to where I've at least knew a little bit better about James. So I messaged James. I was like, "Are you playing for this team? Like, what is this? Is this real?" Because I've always seen VLA and I hadn't seen New York Pride. And James was like, "Yeah, man, for sure." I was like, once I found out that like that was true and that it was a real team, I was like, "Dude, I'm 100% in." And also, no hate to Terrence because he's probably the most incredible person I've ever met. He like literally did everything for us, set everything up, figured everything out, brought us all this physical therapy gear, all these sponsors that gave us stuff. Like, dude, the man is incredible and he keeps up with it on the court too.
Yeah,
So
he's crushing it in both areas. I agree.
yeah,
He's got the sponsors. He's got his own clinic that sponsors you guys, but some others, and he can ball too. The dude can play.
yeah. Dude, he was very impressive. I was shocked. I mean, either of our liberos,
Yeah, him and Evan both.
they were
Sick.
both so even leveled. Like I didn't care which one was in. I was like, both of them are gonna do great. And then yeah, we meet up that night. We get to the hotel like an hour before our practice, and you still only met half the team. And then we roll into the gym, and I like walk past like 2 or 3 guys, and then they get on the same side of the court as me. I was like, "Are you like my teammate?" And they're like, "Yeah, what's up, man?" And so that was interesting, but yeah, it definitely played a factor. And I agree. I think that without question, our team, the New York Pride, could easily beat anybody in that gym on any given day. And I think that's fair to say for a lot of teams that were in that gym. I mean, there's
Definitely.
incredible competition, but without a doubt, I mean, the lineup that we had of James, me, Pat Gassman, even Nick coming off the bench and passing nails, like Ant and H setting. We definitely are that caliber of team, and I definitely think it played a little bit of a. It definitely played into the fact that we had just met each other because trying to connect with the middle, trying to connect with Pat Gassman, who's 6'10", and then you get Deshaun and Anson, who are 6'2", 6'3", but jump out of the gym. It's like it's a lot different to try to connect with those, and with having an hour of practice one night before a full tournament, you got to find a lot and work it out as you go.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I've been talking to you and Terrence and some of the guys, and it sounds like the core and the boys are sticking around, and that is very exciting to hear because yeah, like you said, you guys were the talent, individual talent was there to compete to beat anybody in that gym, and just the more reps you get together, the better it'll look. And you guys beat Team LVC in the first set on Friday morning, and I was like, we might have something here. This might be pretty spicy. And then they kind of woke up and figured it out. But so put your entire weekend into perspective really quickly. Just your thoughts on the VLA Cup as a competitive thing, and just how your team handled the whole thing. And because since you're the first guy I've had on this particular show since then, I'm curious to hear your perspective on it because I thought it was sick.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. It was very impressive. I mean, the Ball Sports Academy was an incredible venue to play at. And you guys ran it great. So shout out to you guys who were in charge of it. I know you guys were running around like crazy trying to keep everything in order, and you guys most certainly did. So definitely kudos to you. But no, it was great. I mean, I was super impressed. This was my first experience in the VLA, and I was really excited about it. And getting to see some of the guys in that gym was really impressive because I've followed them in the VLA. Like I know who's there, but when you actually get in the same gym and you get to see a bunch of those big guys that like you're in the names with, and then you see them all walking around the gym, it's kind of a little bit more noticeable that it's high caliber once you're in the gym. Cause you're like, you just everywhere you look is another like stud who's going to ball out. And it's like, well, it's not like, oh, we can just shut down this guy and we're good. It's like every team had multiple weapons. Like it wasn't a one-dimensional thing. So I mean, it was, yeah. So overall, like I couldn't have asked. So like we were already like checking back right after. We were like, dude, we can't wait for the next tournament. We were like, we need to find another one to play. We got to get another VLA going. We need to get into it. So everybody was super stoked about it.
That is great to hear. I felt the same vibes, just top to bottom in the tournament. Like you were saying earlier, every one of those 11 teams could have easily beaten each other in any given match, and they did. Even like Ruckus, who won the tournament, didn't go undefeated, and nobody went winless either. So that was sick. I think that proved a lot about the level of teams top to bottom, is that everyone was beating up on each other, which is great. And then, like you said, like you can't take any team for granted. You can't take any player for granted, because yeah, if you shut down a guy, then somebody else is just going to come and destroy you, who's just as good as the last guy who you kind of figured out. So that was huge. In terms of like level, like just total level of play and kind of play style,
Mhm.
What was similar and what was different to Denmark? Because we have a couple VLA guys that have been in Denmark either this year or the past couple years, so it's becoming a more popular landing spot for Americans. But I feel like the style of play here versus over there is probably a little different. So, what are your takes on that? Similar versus different?
Yeah, it definitely is different. I think that especially in regards to the teams that we played and our team, it was just a little bit faster paced over in Denmark because you're living there 9 months, you're training 7 days a week, you're training 4 hours a day. So it's like the connection is just flawless without question when you're over in Europe. And in the case over here, it's like right now, we're meeting up for weekends, and some of the teams are fortunate enough that they're all in a similar area and can get out and train and keep up with that. And that definitely showed in that weekend at the Cup too. The guys have been playing together for a while and things like that. So I think that was definitely a little bit different. And also just the European style of play is very unique and only a little bit different. So it was just over here, it's a lot more, I think, a lot more grit and kind of physical in the US. We're kind of like suicide for a ball, run into it, get obliterated, like do some really just wild things. And over in Europe, it's a lot more like, let's control the game. Like we're gonna sit back, we're gonna make our easy plays, make the plays that need to be made. We'll sacrifice the middle that's gonna not the middle in general, but a middle ball that he's gonna obliterate at 5 foot line. And it's like over here, I love it because we'll just send it in for it. It's like, dude, I was just going for it. But yeah, so that was probably only the few differences. But I mean, that gym out in Indiana that we were in was just as high level as I think many of the gyms I was in over there.
Yeah, I would agree. And I haven't played overseas, but I've watched more overseas volleyball than the average person for sure. And yeah, and I mean, you can just see it based on the names that we're playing, yourself included, the guys who either were just coming back fresh from overseas seasons or who had done it at a really high level previously, or whatever everybody's situation was in their career at the moment. There were a lot of people that really belonged that to play on that Sunday, that championship Sunday, that didn't even get there. So that is so exciting for us as the league for next time, because everybody is so jacked up about how competitive the event was, and everybody's already like super hungry about the next one. And so we are thrilled about that because we can't wait too, man. It was so much fun. I love those events. It's a blast.
It was, man. And let me tell you what, we've already been in the group chat rifling it off that we can't wait, strictly for the purpose of it being a fun tournament, but also we are ready to beat down on some teams. We got a little bit handed to us and we ended up coming out with some wins, but we are ready, man. We are very excited.
How about the threads, the like dark green and the lion logo? It's
electric.
So good.
They were electric, man. He did great with the gear. They were incredible.
One of the very best looking teams in the gym, and there were quite a few. There were some pretty good looks.
Yeah, I agree. But I think without question we take the cake.
Yeah,
I'm a little biased.
I loved it. I loved the look so much. I was really curious coming in Friday morning. I'm like, ooh, what are these guys gonna be wearing? Like, how's this lion thing gonna show up on the jerseys? Like, whoo.
I know, they were sweet, man. They were incredible.
Yeah,
shout out Smack.
Shout out to Smack. It's absolutely right. All right, so I want to, before I make you switch hats to your kind of podcasting volleyball talking head like me situation, I have a speed round that I put guys on the show through. So you've probably watched and seen it before, but just give me the first quick thing that comes into your head. You ready?
Okay, let's do it.
All right, sweet. Early mornings or late nights?
Late nights.
Same. Best pregame warm-up song or artist?
Oh, that's so tough. Wow, you're putting me on the spot.
Genre, whatever. What's your music vibe warming up?
Oh, Black Betty. That's my favorite song.
Oh, that's a good song.
Oh, yeah. By Ram Jam.
Nice one. Okay. Best day of the week?
Wednesdays.
Good answer. Stuff block or service ace?
Ace.
Really? I think almost everybody on the show said stuff block.
Yeah, that's what's funny too, is because blocking is probably my favorite thing to do in the game. I just think that acing is just so like disrespectful. Like I'm hitting the furthest point you can possibly hit in the court, and you still couldn't catch up to me. Yeah, that's why it came to me.
I actually like that take. I've never heard it said that way before. Ooh,
yeah, right.
You may have convinced me. What's your favorite post game meal?
Spaghetti. Heavy pasta. I'm Italian. Anything heavy pasta.
For sure. What's the hardest position in volleyball as a man who's played a few of them?
Setter.
Yeah.
Yeah, easily.
Why?
Because you're a quarterback of the game. I don't think it's the hardest physically. I think that physically the ability, the hardest physically ability is outside because of the transition from everything to passing to hitting, so much going on. But as setter, you control the pace of the game. You're lead man in charge.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's probably been the most popular answer for that one. What's your favorite jersey number?
13.
Any reason why? Is there a story behind it?
Yeah, there actually is a pretty good one. My grandfather, he was number 13 all through his sports playing career. He was in the Air Force forever, but he passed away the day that, or on a Wednesday, and I was supposed to play St. Francis, Penn State that weekend, and his funeral was going to be that Saturday. And my dad had to go there and take care of a bunch of the funeral stuff. And my dad's a huge Penn State fan, so me getting to play Penn State was like huge. And that was always the school that I wanted to go to. That was my dream school, and I ended up not getting recruited there, sadly. But getting to play in the same conference and play against them was really big. And so we played them Friday night. I was going to stay for the game, drive to Pennsylvania. We played them at home. I was going to drive to Pennsylvania, go for the funeral, and then come back Saturday night for our next game. I was hoping to. And I was out on the court peppering, and like a ball goes behind me and I spin to do it. And I like caught a glimpse of like my dad's glasses or something. And he surprised me and showed up. I ran up there and like cried in his arms, and it was ridiculous. But so it was always my grandfather's number. They were my two biggest inspiration in sports. So the minute he passed away, I switched over to number 13.
That is an awesome story. Wow. Okay. I'm so glad we got you a chance to tell
that was a good one for sure. That was a deep one too. Not a lot of people know that. I even have it
really
tattooed.
good.
I have my number, my dad's number, and my grandfather's number tattooed on my side, all three numbers of which I wore.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that. Wow, I don't know how to move on from that. What's your favorite sports team in any sport, like pros, college, whatever?
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
Or the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Okay. Who's your favorite athlete of any sport all time?
Kobe Bryant. Easily. Yeah.
Another great one. If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Oh man, I don't get asked this question enough, and it makes me upset that people don't ask me this. So I'm happy you're asking. Man, and see, if I got asked it more, I'd probably have such a better answer. Probably ability to fly. Flying would be sick. No more airplanes, nothing like that. I could probably hit a volleyball super hard because I jump super high.
Yeah, that'd be a bit of a cheat code on the court. Huh?
Yeah, right.
I like it. What sport are you the second best at other than volleyball?
Baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they not in the same season in Maryland in high school? Because here in Chicago they are.
Everywhere is spring for volleyball, but in Maryland it's fall. There's only one conference in all of Maryland that has high school men's volleyball. Only one conference. It's like 8 teams, and it was luckily the high school I went to, so they're in the fall, which is so weird.
Wow. Okay. I was actually just talking about that around the VLA the other night, because I was saying Wisconsin, like Milwaukee, as an area I would like to see a tier 2 team come from, and they play high school in the fall as well. But I had never heard of another spot where that was the case. So that's interesting about Maryland, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Beach or mountains? Which do you prefer?
Oh man, that's a tough. Beach. I gotta go beach.
What's your favorite color?
Blue.
And what's a stronger feeling for you, loving winning or hating losing?
Oh, hating losing.
Yeah.
I punched so many holes in walls over losing. I've never punched a hole in a wall winning.
I think you're the person to answer that question the fastest on the show. That was instant.
I cannot stand losing, and it's not the anger of like that. It's the anger of me not doing it. It's like the anger that I didn't win, not the fact that they beat us or I lost. It was yeah.
I hate losing too. You can't go very far in your career if you like losing.
No, definitely not.
All right, so let's pretend now that you're not a professional volleyball player, and instead you're just a volleyball podcaster, because you're also one of those too. So tell me about 4 to 4, because I love your show. You guys are doing awesome stuff. I love Top 4 Tuesdays. Anytime you get on Instagram Live and do those, it's great. You guys are doing really cool stuff. So it's you, Peter Russell, who you've already talked about as a Penn State guy from your area in Maryland, and then Matt Calloway, who is from my area here in Chicago and also played at Penn State. So had the three of you come up with this 4-4 idea and just take me through it from the beginning.
Yeah, definitely. Well, first of all, thank you for tuning in and watching. I appreciate it. I'm happy you enjoy it. That's kind of what we do it for. So for anybody listening, you can check us out for sure. Yeah, so I was it was, yeah, like you said, me, Peter Russell, Matt Calloway. I've grown up 10 minutes from the Russell's household. I ended up meeting Peter when I was like a senior in high school, and we've literally been like best friends ever since. And then I met Calloway through the Russells, and me and Calloway got extremely close over time too. So those two are definitely my boys. Love them to death. And I've always wanted to kind of get into something like this, where I'm like talking about volleyball or doing something with it, because, you know, it eventually I ended up, when I retire from my current career playing professional, I'm always going to be doing something in volleyball. And Callaway's the same way. He's a very like talkative guy. He was really into volleyball. Same with Peter. That's just how the three of us are. We were like, we know that no matter what, this is like our career is going to be something in volleyball. And I'm kind of like the send it guy on the team. I'm the guy that always like actually gets things into motion. So I told him, I was like, yo, do you three want to start this podcast? We're going to do like podcast content channel. We'll start off with the podcast, see how it goes, and then we'll build and grow from there. And both of them were like all in. And we always joke, because Peter is such a talker. Like, if you know him in person and you talk to him on the phone, it takes you 45 minutes to get him off a phone conversation that you wanted to take too. And then it's funny, he's on the podcast and he'll be like silent for like 30 minutes. It's really funny. But yeah, so they were just like, yeah, dude, we'll do it. We're all in. We did a few test runs one night, ordered our own mics, everything, got all of it set up. And then we were like, dude, I think the best way for us to do this is just get in and start doing it. And then we'll figure it out along the way. So that's what we did. When I got, right before I had left for Europe, we had gotten all the gear in and stuff. And then I shipped out to Europe and we were finalizing and figuring out exactly how we wanted to do it. And then we rifled off our first episode actually with Jalen Jasper. We brought him on. And then ever since, it's just been a snowball effect of building and a ton of work, but it's been totally worth it.
I love that. I'm obviously in a very similar spot. It's cool because there are so many people that love the game of volleyball so much, and then just like, and playing isn't enough. You want to do something else. And like, what do we do? Like when we get together over beers or whatever, anyway, is we just talk about volleyball anyway.
Yeah.
Like it's what everybody does. Like when we're at the VLA Cup, for example, and we finally leave the gym after like 12 hours of being there, we just keep talking about volleyball for the rest of the day. So there's never enough of a platform to go around for talking about volleyball. That will never be saturated. So I love that. I love that all three of you guys who have played at such a high level still want to just like talk about it all the time. It's like even the people who get burnt out of playing, which happens for, I'd say, girls earlier than guys on average, but it happens to the guys eventually too. But definitely. You never stop loving the game. You never stop wanting to talk about it. So that's so dope.
Yeah. And it was actually funny because whenever I first got the thought, me and Callaway play a bunch of video games together. And when we would be playing video games, we would just sit there and talk and just shoot it. It would be about volleyball and amongst other things, but we were just like, dude, we should do a podcast. And I come to him like 6 months later. I'm like, you want to do this volleyball podcast with me? And it was all over from there.
That's awesome. Yeah, like if you're going to be talking anyway, you might as well talk into a microphone and see who feels like deciding to listen to you boys. And
exactly,
with the level that you three have played at, it's a no-brainer of a thing to want to listen to. So yeah, people definitely go check out 4-4 at 4.2.4 on Instagram. I'll link it in the description to stuff. Do you, off the top of your head, what's one or two of the coolest stories told on your show?
Oh man, Micah Ma. Oh my Lord, that guy takes the cake. His stories were incredible, dude. This guy, character. He is so fun. He is so much fun. And we've had some amazing guests on. Like we've had Dustin Watton, Simone Lee, Joe Norton out of Mason, like some incredible people.
Love Joe, longtime VLA guy.
Joe was probably one of our favorite interviews for sure. He's just like the coolest person ever. It's like we got off, we were like, dude, this guy's just so cool.
Yeah, I love
like
him.
I'm jealous that I'm not as cool as he is. But Micah Ma came in with the absolute heat, man, and they were hilarious. I also have the YouTube clips up on our YouTube channel, which again, if you just go to that Instagram, you'll find it. But those ones blew up where like everybody who listened to that episode texted me, Callaway or Peter, or messaged our account on Instagram and were like, oh my gosh, like we want to hear more. He told this one story that included the Bruin walk at UCLA and him at a standoff with this girl because neither of them wanted to get out of each other's way.
Okay.
Ridiculous.
Awesome.
He literally got a stool. He was sitting. It was ridiculous. And then the second one that he gave us was this bet that he had with, I think it was Max Holt, when they were out for like the World League games, or maybe it was VNL previous year.
Yeah, probably VNL 19 if I had to guess.
I think it was. And they had a bet that Micah had to hold a banana for the rest of the day. Like he had to have it in his hand at all times, except during trainings and stuff. And it ended up going so far past just one day. So I'll leave you on that little cliffhanger to go find out how long. But we actually posted the picture. I think it was on our story, but I'll make sure to put it up on the 4to4 account of him holding the plate of them. I think it was getting third place, and he has the banana on the plate.
No way.
It's hilarious, man. That man, he delivered, and the way he presents it is so unreal.
Yeah, if I mean, I assume everyone listening to this is already following Out of System, but if you're not, you gotta go listen to what Micah and then the Worsleys have to say. That's just a world-class trio of volleyball dudes.
For sure.
Just like Brandon and the boys. So yeah, I wanna get connected with those guys because I really want to get them on this show. That I would be curious to pick their brains about all the wacky volleyball stuff that they've been up to lately. And there's been a lot
for
of
sure. Yeah, dude, they're great. They're very easy to reach out to. I'm sure they'll respond.
Yeah, sweet. That would be sweet. Jalen Jasper is a good one that you brought up because Maryland guy, of course, but him being at Stanford, you had him on in the midst of Stanford's kind of they were kind of at the lowest of their low points when the program, when it was announced that it was cut, but now in the last couple of weeks we've learned that they're bringing it back, which was just phenomenally good news. So
yeah, incredible.
It's been cool to hear from various Stanford people since that's happened about the turnaround and all that. So great one. I think you had Eric Shoji on the show too, who
we did.
Guy that I've also gotten connected with and I would like to have on this show very soon. He's a little busy right now playing VNL.
Just a little bit. And Eric was another great guy, man. He was so cool. We're working on trying to get him to do some stuff with 4to4 and like do some content stuff with us. It's been really tough because of how busy he is, but he was another incredible guy. Like we talk after everyone. We're like, dude, we really haven't had a single like bad guest. Like we haven't had a guest that we've gotten off and we're like, man, that was boring or that sucked. Everybody's been awesome. Same
here. I'm on episode like 47 and everyone is, I think after I had the same thing after I'm done recording, I'm like, wow, that was really cool. It's like better than the last one I had it. Yeah. There's a bunch of awesome people, a bunch of unreal stories. So that's what's so cool about this. And it's like the perfect platform to share just random volleyball stories.
Yeah, it really is.
Like it's stuff that you would tell people over beers at a tournament, but you're telling it for anybody on the internet who wants to come and hang out with you. So
exactly. And people have a lot of work to get through that they love tossing these kind of things on and just hearing it out.
Totally. So you and Callaway are making the trek to a certain grass tournament in about a month, which is something I look forward to literally all year. That, of course, being Walpaca Boatwright.
Yes.
So tell me about 4to4's crew's approach to that tournament, because I know you were kind of publicly searching for a third guy and you're going to like vlog the whole thing, whatever. What's your content plan for Walpaca? Because the Worsleys kind of wrote the book on that last year.
Oh yeah.
Cool what they did.
I mean, it's so evident where we got the idea from. I mean, their thing was sick. I was like, dude, why would we not do that? Like, and the Worsley brothers and Micah, I talk to pretty often through like, mostly through like DMs and stuff, but we've talked so much. I'm like, dude, at this point, we just need to get each other's number. But I bounce ideas off them. I'm working on doing some collab stuff with them. So I was like, dude, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, we're trying to do the East Coast version. You're the West Coast. Like once I saw the Walpaca vlog, all three of us were like, dude, yeah, 100% do that. So yeah, we have a lot of different content stuff that we plan on breaking out into this summer with 4to4 that I think will be really exciting for people to see and really spread in our growth, because we'll have more likable content that people will want to see. And yeah, Wapaka is the big one that's been announced as of late. So me, Callaway, and Peter, we're going to play it together, but Peter has a prior family commitment that he definitely cannot get out of, or I think his mom would beat him up even at his old age. His mom, we were like, dude, we're not touching that. I will not cross your mom on this. So Peter has a family commitment that weekend. So we were like, man, we got to find our next guy. And we were rifling through a couple of guys that we know that are really good players and things like that. And some things were just either they couldn't make it or we weren't sure if they would fit in with me and Callaway in terms of on the court. Like I'm a ball control hitting kind of guy, and Callaway is a big middle who's also got some ball control. It's like we wanted to find the right piece of the puzzle. So I was talking to Callaway one day. I was like, dude, we got to figure it out. We got to register. Like we need to go through all this. And then he was like, what if we just put out on the Instagram account on 4 to 4 and see what sticks? And he's like, we can do it on our personals too. I was like, all right, why not? We'll see what we can get. And I mean, I had 25 DMs. Callaway had 18, and our 4 to 4 account had like 23.
Wow.
Like, and this was all in the matter of like 2 days. We were like, oh my God. Like we didn't think we were that popular. We didn't think that many people cared. But a lot of people reached out and were like super excited. And we kind of put out a disclaimer that it's like, you know, we're going there to win the money and like make it a good vlog. So, you know, we're looking for high level players, and everybody who messaged us was totally understanding of that. And I don't think we've actually announced it yet. So I guess this will be like a debut breaking on the VLA podcast. Yeah. So our third team member is going to be Diego Villafane, the setter from Charleston out of the EIVA. He just came out. I think it was first team all conference behind Cole Bogner. Him and Cole were the first team all EIVA. Dudes, I played 1 year with him, and he's such a freak athlete, freak competitor, crazy ball control. Once he messaged and I talked to Callaway about him, we were like, dude, he sounds like he's perfect for us. Like he sounds like that's exactly what we need. So we were like, all right, well, let's do it. So yeah, Diego Villafane will be joining us. And then we have a pretty extensive crew that's also coming along just for the experience. We got a couple of guys and a couple of friends from Penn State and other places that are going to fly out with us and bring out to help record, help set up, like a whole 4 to 4 team that's going to be helping us set all this up. So it's going to be a really good showing. It's going to be fun. And I'm hoping we can tee up against the out of system guys and have like the podcast standoff.
So hype. Oh, I know,
but I only want to see them in like semifinals or championship. That's when I want to see them, because I don't want this intense of a brawl to go down in like pool play. Yeah, it would be a really good semifinal kind of match.
Well, I am all for Walpaca Boatwright getting more screen time. More people need to know how amazing that tournament is and how it's just generally sick like grass 3-on-3 is. I'm so high on that format. I think it's so awesome. And with the AVP starting to get into it, like across the East Coast and all these places, it's going to continue to grow even more regionally, because grass is weird. Like how do you play grass out in Maryland? What's the format? Because I know it's different every place.
Yeah, dude, Maryland's weird. Well, not even weird. To me, Maryland's normal. Everywhere else is kind of weird. But Maryland's like, their grass game is almost very beach-like in terms of like rules and things outside of like,
is it doubles or threes or fours or what?
Mostly doubles. They're breaking into triples now that, like you said, it's growing. Wapaca's massive, and we have the second biggest tournament, I believe, or previously it definitely was, at Pottstown Rumble in Pennsylvania, which is massive.
A lot about,
I've been playing it for so long. It's super good. It's an incredible tournament, so much fun. But out here, the hand calls are so much different. It's like you have to set like beach. There can be no rotations at all. And Luis Garza, who Rob definitely knows, we're both mutual friends with him, a libero out of Chicago, plays all kinds of outdoor grass. And he came to play one tournament with me in Pennsylvania like 2 years ago, and he was like, oh, I'm just going to set you all day and you're going to be banging them. I was like, dude, you got to be careful with your hands. He got called like his first 3 balls, all 3 called. And he was like pissed at the ref. He was like, what? Like, no way. I was like, dude, that's how it is out on the East Coast. So I'm pumped to get to Walpaca to actually like let hands fly,
right,
and like have the freedom to kind of let it ride a little bit.
Yeah, that's funny because so I played with Lewis like pretty much all of last summer. Me and him and Urim Demirovsky at Ball State thing.
Uh-huh.
We're a grass trio, and Lewis among like Midwest and Chicago people is pretty famous for deep dishing quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
He holds on to the ball for a while. So the fact that he wasn't even getting away with that on the East Coast is wild to me. But yeah, out here it's way more similar to indoor. You can hand
Yeah.
pass. People are jump setting, people are running like second tempo balls to the pins. There are your right side hitter can run in front or behind, like you'll see a lot of that. Everybody blocks with two and somebody will peel off and play off blocker defense. Yeah, it's just it's much faster, it's a little more dynamic, and I love the 3-on-3 thing. I've never been just super into doubles because you can dictate what the other team does offensively just based on who you serve, and I don't really
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
So the fact that you have a setter and two hitters I think is so cool. So yeah, if you don't already want to follow Brandon in 4-4, you're going to want to do it for Walpaca because the just the names that were there even last year, like during like most of a pandemic, the names were huge. The Worsleys were there, of course, and this year I can expect to be much bigger.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. The whole outdoor game is just, especially with AVP jumping in now. Now all these AVP guys want to go there because it gets them more AVP points, and the cash prizes are so much bigger now.
Right.
But it's actually interesting to them. You know, we would get a bunch that would fly out for Pottstown Rumble. I'm sure there were a bunch that would go to Wapaka, but now it's like insane amount of high level players. Like my first tournament ever playing open is so much different than somebody else's first tournament that is going to be this year in their first time playing open. Like crazy different. The level is insane. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's sick. I'm going to go out and try and win AA before I ever even think about playing up a division. So yeah, you boys will definitely see me there. I'm so excited for all of your content, all out of systems content.
For
We're
sure.
trying to get the VLA to have some kind of fingerprints on Wapaka as well. So we'll see if we can pull anything like that off.
It would be
So
exciting.
it would, but yeah, I'm so excited for that. Literally the best weekend of the year. If you can come to the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin, second weekend of July. It's worth it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pumped, man. We can't wait.
All right, dude. I think that kind of about wraps it up. Anyone else you want to shout out? Anything else you want to tell us about 4-4 or what you boys are up to before we get you out of here?
Well, of course, first I want to give all the love back to you guys, everybody over at the VLA, you, Rob, all those guys, Lloyd Ball, because you guys are doing an incredible job. I couldn't be happier to be a part of it. I tell all the guys back in Denmark and over in Europe about it, and they eat it up. They were watching our games. So 100% love back to you guys. Definitely keep up with us. Thanks, over at man. 4-4. Yeah, man. Definitely keep up with us over at 4-4. We got a lot of really sick content coming up, a bunch of releases coming out this summer, and a lot of surprising stuff that I can't exactly announce right now, but there's some pretty impressive things that we already have lined up for this summer. So please go give us a follow, keep up with us. Other than that, shout out New York Pride, Terrence Crossan for running the whole thing. Terrence Crossan Physical Therapy out of Long Island. Yeah, man. Other than that, I can't thank you guys enough for letting me come in and do this. This has been awesome.
Thanks, dude. You're the man. Shout outs to everybody involved. Everyone follow 4-4. I'll make sure the links are in the appropriate places for you to find Brandon.
I appreciate it.
Callaway. And yeah, dude, I'll see you at Walpaca. Can't wait.
Absolutely, man. I can't wait for it.
All right, bud. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next time on Deep Corner. Stay tuned to VLA. We got a lot going on before outdoor season really kicks in. We got a good other month of indoor to stay tuned to. So check us out and all that stuff. We'll see you next time.